Well, hello, hello everybody. Welcome back to the newest episode of C Sharp. Today we are going to learn about loops, about different usages of the loops, of the different types of them, and also we are going to write a very small program that takes the average, as I promised. But before that, I need to explain what the project is about. It is about learning C Sharp. I myself don't know C Sharp. I'm learning with you. I'm learning it on stream. That's why there are going to be many awkward moments, many hiccups, many problems. But that's the purpose, for you to see what problems might happen when you are actually writing a program and when you are learning to write one. But I am very good at VB.NET, that's why I have some coding background, so I know what to do, and I know how to do the basic stuff. And yes, let's start. So today we're going to write a summation program, an average program. So I'm going to make a new project. And in the meanwhile, let's see how the loop structure of C Sharp is. The site is of course the tutorials point. I like this website. So the thing is that you should know about loops is that what the basic structure of it is, that it has like the if condition, a block, a part of it, and it will start here, it will go down, it will check the condition. If the condition is true, then the block will be executed, like the if, but it goes up here again. So after the code has been executed, it will check again the condition, and if again the condition is true, the code part will be executed again. And that's why it's called a loop, because until the condition is true, it will just loop in this part. And then after the condition is false, it will just come out of here. Okay, so there are different type of loops. The first one, we are going to look at the while loop. So here I have a while, then I can have the condition here, and if the condition is true, the statement or statements will be repeated. And then when it runs the end of the block, it will go back, check the condition again. If the condition is true, again the statements will be executed. If not, it will continue with the rest of the code. Okay, so here it will check the condition. If it is true, the code block will be executed. If not, it will just come out. Okay, so as a very small example, I'm going to define a variable, and I put the initial value of 0 in it. I will say while I is smaller than 10, then I will open the block and I say console.writeLine I, and I'm going to write I++. Okay, this I++ means exactly I equals I plus 1, okay? Or you can also write it like this, I plus equal 1, okay? All of these three mean that take the previous value of I, add 1 to it, and put it in I. So this and this basically also mean the same thing. Then console.read key. So if I execute this, then I have printed out 0 to 9. The reason is that I start here, I is 0, it will check the condition, is I smaller than 10? Yes it is, so it will write the number, then it will add 1 to I, and the code will be executed again. So why will it be executed again? Because it was 0, 1 is added, now I is 1, it will reach here, come back up here, check the condition, 1 is still smaller than 10, so it will write down 1. And when it reaches 9, I is 9, it's smaller than 10, it will write down 9, it will add 1 to it, it will be 10, then it comes back here, and now because I is 10, it's not smaller than 10. That's why it will just jump out and come to the read key part. That's why until 9 was written. But of course, if I write smaller equals 10 and I execute it, 10 will also be written for it. I can write, for example, another program For example, I want to write a program that I take input so many times as long as the E button was not pressed. So I can, for example, take any kind of things that I want, any kind of characters, but if E is pressed, I want it to jump out. I don't want to take an input anymore. So if I want to write this small program, okay, I'm going to say that first I'm going to prompt the user console.writeLine, press E to exit. Okay. Then I forgot to write the semicolon. Then I'm going to say that I'm going to say I'm going to say while console.readKey. Okay. I need to open and close the parentheses. Why? Because readKey is a function. Okay, because this is a function, I need to open and close this. Okay, but when I pressed again the dot and I had key char to make it a character, okay, this is a property, so I don't need to open and close the parentheses, equals E. Okay, then I am going to open the block and close it. Hang on, we have an error. Why do we have an error? It says that key char cannot be assigned to. Okay, it means basically that I cannot assign a value to key char. The reason is I use only one equal sign. If I put one equal sign, it tries to put this value into this, and it cannot do that. That's why I have the error. I need to make it the double sign. Okay, so and here I'm going to write console.writeLine, the program has ended. Okay, and now when I execute this, okay, press E to exit, I press T. Hang on, why does it say the program has ended? Why did it come out? If you think about it, in the condition it was if the condition is true, it will come here. If the condition is false, it will just jump out of the block. Here, when I pressed T, T does not equal E. Because it does not equal E, the condition is false. That's why it just jumps out. And if I press E, it will just continue to read a line. Because when I press E, the condition is true. That's why it jumps here. It comes here. Here is nothing to be executed. It comes here. It starts here again. And it's waiting again for another input. So if I press E, you see, it just waits. It doesn't do anything. But when I press T, it says the program has ended. Okay? And in order to prevent this, okay, that all of the E's come in one line. Oh, first of all, in order to fix this, of course, I have two possibilities. Either I can make this unequal. It means that if I press any other key than E, this condition will be true. That's why it will just jump here. And it will continue to stay in the loop until I press E. Or I can leave this as an equal sign. And I can not all of the equation. Okay? This means that whatever is inside of it, not it. If it is true, make it false. If it is false, make it true. Okay? So let's see. If I press any other button, oh, I pressed E accidentally. Okay. If I press any other button, it will just stay. If I press E, the program has ended. Okay. Now in order to fix this, that all of it is in one line, I can write this console.writeLine. Was it this way it was, right? I have no idea. Was it this way? Okay. Yes. Oh, it was this way, and I pressed E again. Okay. And we'll just print an empty line between it. Okay. And when I press E, the program has ended. And in order to fix also the E part, I'm just gonna write this. Okay. Then the program has ended. W-Y-H-E, the program has ended. Okay. Now imagine I want to also say which button has been pressed, okay? Because here I am reading the key, I am actually seeing what it is, okay? I'm actually seeing what it is. Then I will dispose of the value. I don't keep the value, so I cannot write it here, okay? Of course, there's the way that I can write char key pressed, okay? Then I will put that as an empty char, as space, for example, okay? I will check here, the key pressed, okay? And here I say key pressed, okay, equals console dot read key, okay. Now it should work. Oh, I need to make this a char, okay. Now this should work. It should work again. TTTUE, the program has ended. And now, instead of writing this, I can write this. The key pressed was, and I'm going to write a plus, and then key pressed. The plus basically just means to concat the string. Concating a string means that whatever is inside of here, add it to the end of this part. Okay, so right now what I will see is the key pressed was a space, then whatever is stored into the key pressed. Okay, the key pressed was T, U, I, J, E, the key pressed was E, then the program ends. The reason why it will write it down first, then the program ends, is because when I press E, when I don't press anything, it starts here, checks the condition, nothing is in here, the condition is false, so it will come here. When I press E, E will be put into key pressed, then it will be printed that the key pressed was E, then when I have printed this, it will come here, so it goes and checks the condition, key pressed equals E, so this is true, the not is false, that means the condition is false, that's why it jumps out. Okay? Now this works. Now I am thinking that something else might work, I'm not so sure, okay? I'm going to write this, but here I write key pressed equals console.readKey, that key char, and then I am going to check the value. Does this work? Okay. Basically what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to first read the character, put it into key press, then check if key press equals E. Okay. If this works, it will be fantastic. Okay. Let's see. The key pressed was, and then I'm going to concat key pressed. If this works, it's actually very amazing because I am making the code so much smaller. Let's see. T, it works. Y, E, wow, it actually works. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So what this line does, that's amazing actually. That's never possible in something like Visual Basic. It is, I am reading the key, I'm putting it into this value, then this parenthesis is this value. And I'm checking this value if that equals E. And the other program that I wrote, okay, I'm going to copy this. Okay, I'm going to copy this. And see how much easier, it's not possible anymore to revert to that place. Okay, I wanted to kind of see compare it with the other one, but in large codes that makes it so much easier. So it's amazing, actually, it's very amazing. But of course it has the danger that this will be much unreadable, because I see key pressed equals console.readKey.keychar and then double equal. That's a little bit hard to understand, so probably it's common practice to not write a program like this. but it's amazing that it works. So now, as promised, we want to write the average program. So what I had in mind is that first I take the number of students, and then I take the marks of all of the students, and then I'm going to calculate the average of it. Okay? Of course, if you know how average works, it's that if I have, for example, 5 students, I need to get all of the marks, I need to add them together, and when I have add them together, I need to divide it by the total number. So here, 5. So what I am going to do is I am going to use the loop, of course, okay, but I am going to delete all of the excess code here. So first I need to know how many students I have. So I'm going to say int student number equals console.readLine. Okay, but of course I have to prompt the user first, so I'm going to say console.writeLine. Please enter the number of students. Okay, so when I have got this, oh yeah, this I have the problem that this is not int, so I should be able to just cast it to int. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, I cannot do that. Then I'm going to use the function that we learned, convert.toInt. This is int, and toInt 16 is short, 32 that's int, and this one is long. Okay. Actually, I wanted to go to int, so I have to say to int 32, because this part means what will be returned. Okay, so here short will be returned for the function, 32 will be returned, and 64. I wanted to return 32. Okay, very good. So now I have the student number. Now I need to write a loop that will count as many times as I have students to get the inputs. Okay, so I say int I equals 0 while I is smaller than student number. I'm going to open this. Then I'm going to say console.writeLine. Please enter the mark of student. Then I'm going to say which number of student we are, so that the user knows which mark he has to enter. Then I have to get the mark and put it in a variable, of course. But how can I do this? Because I don't know how many variables I'm going to need, because the user has the option to enter as many numbers as he wants in the first part. And also I have another problem. If I define here 5 variables, I cannot write different variables for here. It's gonna be very difficult. Okay, of course there are many solutions to this, but the most simple way is that I am going to define a decimal. I'm going to define a decimal called sum, and it will be equal to 0 at the beginning. And here I will say sum plus equal convert dot to decimal console dot read line. Okay, so what do you think will happen now? Okay, what happens is that I begin with the first iteration. This is 0. Okay, then I will get whatever the users put in and add it to the previous value of sum. The previous value of sum was 0. Okay, now that was for I0. Okay, then I go back. Oh, I is still 0. That's a problem. Okay, that's a problem, because right now I is 0, it goes back, still 0, again it will execute this code, still 0, and it will get stuck in an indefinite loop. So if I just run the program, I say I want to have two students, student 0, 1, student 0. You see, it is stuck in an indefinite loop. Okay. Now I have the error because I put a non-number in there. Okay. So in order to fix this, I have to say I++. Okay, so that the iterator. This I, by the way, it's called an iterator because it increases the value with each time the loop is executed. So I say 10. I say two students now. Student number 0, 12, and number 1. Now the program has ended. But there was another problem, that when I say 0, when I press the it says please enter the mark of student 0. I don't want it to start from student 0. I want it to start from student number 1. Okay. Now let's see what happens here. It starts from 0. It comes here. Sum is also 0. 0 is smaller than 2, for example. And as you see, I is here 0. Okay, that's why it writes down student 0. Okay, in order to fix this, then let me make this 1, for example. Okay. Now, this is 1. 1 is smaller than 2, the student number. I will take the mark of student 1. I will put it inside of sum, because the previous value was 0. 0 plus this will be the value of the new one. This will change to 2, and it will come to this condition again. But this condition is 2 smaller than 2, so it will be false, and it comes out. So I just had token just one input from the user. Let me check it. If I press 2, I press 12, then the program ends. So this doesn't work. So I'm going to start this from 0, because this is conventional that generally everything starts from 0 in programming. And instead, I will make this +1. Now it should be fixed. That I say I have two students, student number 1, 12, student number 2, 13. The program has ended. Now, it's 0. I will get the marker of student number 1. It will put it into sum. Now I will be 1. 1 is smaller than 2. It will print out student number 2. And now what happens here is that this is the previous value of the student number 1. It will add the previous value of student number 1 with the mark of student number 2 and will put it inside of sum. So this sum is really the summation of all of the marks from the students that I have entered before. And then it will come here, I will be 2, it comes back here, I is 2, 2 is smaller than 2, that's false, that's why it comes here. That's why I have taken 2 inputs, and that's why sum will be the summation of all of the marks. Okay, so the average will be console that write line the average is plus sum divided by number of students, student number. Okay, that's what I named it. Okay, and now the average should also be printed. I say 3 students, 12, 13, 14. The average is 13. Seems to be working. Okay, 5, 10, 10, 12, 14, and 15. 12.2 does work. Okay, so that's how we can write a small program which takes all of the marks of the students in, and then I have the summation. Okay, and then after having the summation, I can get the student number divided by the student number and get to the average. Okay, now there were other types of loops. Okay, we have also, for example, for loop. For loop is very similar to while. There's just 3 parts of it. Okay, there's init, condition, and increment. Init is actually this. You need to define your iterator. Condition is actually this. It is the condition that will be checked whether to stay in the loop or go out. And we have increment. Increment is basically this. What you need to pay attention to, that init will be executed once before the code, like here. Condition will be checked every time after the code has finished. Okay, next the condition is evaluated if true. First this will be executed, then the condition will be checked. If the condition is true, it will go into the body. After the body has been done, it will go back and check the condition again. Okay, but before, if it reaches the end, before checking the condition, increment will be executed. Okay, so this is exactly like this code. Okay, it will be exactly like this code that I'm going to make these comments. Control C, Control K, Control C makes these as comments. I'm going to write here for init. For int I equals 0. The condition is that the student number is smaller than that I is smaller than the student number, and I plus plus. I don't need to execute I plus plus anymore. If I execute the code, I say I have 3 students, 10, 15, and 20. You see, it works exactly the same. Okay, so these two are exactly the same. And of course, I can also make this look like the while I had before for the small press E to exit program. It will be something like this. For then, because I do not need an iterator for that, we didn't have any iterator for that, but the condition was not console.key pressed, console.read key, that read key, that key char equals E. And then I also do not have the increment because there is nothing to increment, and then I can open and close the block. Okay, this will do exactly the same thing that we wrote before, but it's common practice that if I have an iterator, if I have an I that needs to be incremented, I use the for structure. If I don't have the I, I'm not going to use it like this, I'm going to use the while structure. But the basic functionality of them is exactly the same. Then we have another one. We have do while, which is exactly like while, but there's a small difference. It's that the condition is not checked at top, the condition is checked at the bottom. With while, the condition was here, was at the top of it. So first this will be executed, then this will be executed, then the condition is checked. If true, it will go inside. Here, it will first execute the code, then the condition is checked. If the condition is true, it will go back and do the statements again. It depends if you want the statements to be executed at least once or not. Okay, if you want it to be executed at least once, then you're going to use this structure. This is completely depends on your preference. Of course, you can also alter the condition a little bit on top so that it can be executed at least one time. Depends what kind of program you want to write. So this was about loops. Next time we are going to write a program that will determine the determinant of a matrix. This is going to be a little bit more difficult. For that we also will need arrays to understand how arrays work a little bit. That's why next session will be about arrays. And I hope you have enjoyed it. If you are a professional programmer, if I made a lot of mistakes, I do apologize. I hope you have enjoyed them though. Please like, share and comment. If you have any suggestions, I will really appreciate any kind of feedback. Again, shout out to everybody who has supported me. and hopefully he will continue to support me. And yes, don't forget to subscribe. Omid Chindy out. Have a very nice day. Goodbye.